starting the
I'm
episode?
starting the podcast, babe.
All right, perfect. So
This is
welcome
how
back,
it's starting.
everyone.
This is how it's starting. Where we just completely talk over each other. I can't even hear you. Yeah, through
Oh,
my headphones, yeah.
so Vanessa's part of the episode.
Can she hear me? Can you hear her?
Yeah, I heard her say something, but I have no
Okay,
idea.
keep it in. What is up, gang? 22 people tuning in weekly, episode 8 of the Last Buzz podcast, brought to you by Prime, the best beverage you can put in your mouth. So much potassium, no other
cap.
electrolytes, because who cares about calcium and sodium and
Yeah. Talking
stuff
about
like that?
Prime.
But what's
it's
up?
kind of jokes. I just came back from Costco's. Having to do the weekly run. Fridge is getting empty, and I remember last time you showed me the Prime sticks.
Yeah.
Like they're on let's get rid of them at Costco's. Costco's with an S. Guess how much it was here in Montreal?
$39.99.
No, $9.
What? $8.97?
Bro, but I think it was like 907. Like it has to end with a 7 because they're just getting rid of it. But yeah, so I got 2 packs. I got 60 sticks of
Dude.
Prime for $18. That's
I already
basically
know.
free.
Yeah, I already. Shout out to La Brasserie. Or no. Yeah, no, it's not La Brasserie. It's La Résidence.
La Résidence.
$2 shots of tequila. It's basically free. But
Yeah,
yo, Prime, I'm sure they're getting. Is it the regular flavors that you've been used to?
Yeah,
Because
the sticks, they have like the regular ice pop that it's always there. I forget the second one. It's another like basic one, but then they have I think
raspberry.
it's the pink one in it. So I think pink is like not that common, I think, to find even in bottles here. So that's the one I popped this morning. Right now when I came back home.
I noticed when I went to Costco last weekend, because I go every weekend,
Facts.
they have the new little package of Prime sticks, and it has the strawberry banana one, I think.
Oh, that one's ass.
Is it?
Do you like it or no?
I've never tried it. Stick
Okay,
or
so
bottle.
I had it. I forget if it was now in Boston or when I went to New York with the boys.
Boston.
But it literally tastes like you take like a nice strawberry banana smoothie and you leave it on the counter for 17 days. You wait for it to melt, you sift it through to get all the little ice chunks that could still be there or all the like bananas chunks, and you just keep the liquids. It is horrendous.
Really?
No idea why they made that fucking flavor, but completely trash. But not as trash as our giveaway. Quick shout out, 1,000 subscribers by 2028. We'll have a little raffle. I can't say raffle. I'll get canceled apparently because we can't do any casino related things on YouTube.
Really?
It's completely free. Just subscribe and we'll pick a person. They'll get a jersey from the shitty company that's Fanatics. Shout out Fanatics, or a PWHL jersey. So just do that. Like, comment on the video just to support us for our 20 viewers. And once we reach 1,000 subscribers, we'll do that giveaway.
Yeah, once we reach that, I honestly think the NHL will have already moved on to like Reebok or Adidas.
Straight up.
But like, it's even better for us because those jerseys are gonna be so discounted,
Exactly.
and it'll be like a typo on the jersey. So we're really laughing. It's
Yeah, so
the ROI is great for us.
it's gonna be when they're selling out those Prime sticks at Costco's. We'll have a full rack of Fanatics jersey at Costco's, but like just the Fanatics brand. So it might actually make it special. We'll customize it for our podcast this week, Glen. So yeah, a little hiatus on my side again. I went to Boston.
Boston.
Yeah, Kayla was competing into what she likes to call aerial sports.
Areola
well.
Sports.
Yeah, Areola Sports and the best sports in the sport in the business. We brought Wally, champion.
Really?
Honestly, just the best. Like he was vibing in that hotel room. We brought the cameras so we can take a look at him. I went to hang out with him between the performances because there were 4 from the studio to go there and perform. So whenever I would see either of them, I'd go home and chill with Wally a bit. So that was fire. So apologies for the delay once again. I'm the reason for it.
No, we're back in it now.
But I was thinking about it. Like you're coming during the holidays, so we might now for the first time our in-person episodes, which might actually be sick.
We have to do it.
I'm thinking like like my foldable chairs I have at the condo, like we can make it so it's like our fake couches, and it's just in the middle of my living room, and we're on those
Yeah.
like big chairs. We'll make something up for you guys. It'll be an in-person episode. Might bring in some guests. We'll see
Yes.
if we're able to figure that one out. That'd be cool. This episode will be a NHL slash hockey. I'm not sure about PWHL notes this week
Only.
exclusively. Next week we'll do a F1 special, end of season, season that just ended. We'll talk about how that went and what we can look out to next year. But yeah, you can kick us off, Glenn, if you want, with
Yes, sir.
an amazing first note
Yeah,
this week.
so a little prefacing here. See how messy this bed is behind me? This is where I meditate every morning because I was losing it. It's dark here all the time. I'm freezing all the time at work.
Yep.
So I was like, I got to do something to fix up here a bit. And honestly, I feel great. A lot less negative. Let's go, baby. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
I can see your almost daily Strava updates,
yeah.
and it included
So,
meditation.
yeah, so I originally synced Strava with Peloton just to like, because I wanted my running to
Yeah.
like be, if I did a run on Peloton, I wanted to pop up on Strava.
Yep.
But then like I was also doing like 5-minute meditations, 5-minute stretches, and one day you just gave me like 40 kudos.
Thank
I
you
was like,
so much for noticing.
I was
I
like, you know
went
what,
back
I'm
in the
done.
timeline. I even scrolled down in Strava to make sure I didn't miss a single one of them. And
So
that actually made my day when I went through and like all those 40
yeah,
workouts.
it really made it my day too. But all that prefacing to say
Yeah.
that an NHL captain that used to play in the NHL, Jonathan Toews, he's suffered from long-term COVID issues, and he's been trying to find any which way to sort of get over these weird symptoms that he's having. And this guy, the whitest guy, went all the way to India where he did some sort of weird spiritual retreat. And we don't need to go through the whole thing, but the whole like to long story short, it helped him. But I don't know, like it's very interesting to see that like this is the lengths that he's going to sort of better himself, and who knows if he's ever going to come back because Chicago Blackhawks, that team stinks. They desperately need some help. Did you see that play where Bedard dangled two guys from his end all the way, dropped it off to Bertuzzi, and then he just pulled like a random like Bantam B defenseman and he ripped it around the zone, and then two other guys missed an easy corral off the boards, and then boom, like empty netter for the other team. But like
Yeah.
Bedard's alone.
Yeah, it's tough. Like they made all those changes to bring in better guys. Like we thought that Bertuzzi was going to go well, but it's just been really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Taves, he's definitely like realigning his chakra, quite literally. So shout out to him. Definitely a surprising news when I saw it.
Yeah.
But like we just hope for the best for him. He probably did take the vaccine and had a negative reaction to it.
Shocker.
It's kind of jokes because we're talking about the long-term COVID. It's not really funny, but I was seeing like they finally came out with like an article here in the Journal de Montréal, the most legit, credible source, that they were talking like all the truths about COVID now that it's done, and like it just sounded like back to back like conspiracy theories. So that was pretty jokes that it made me think of that. But to go back to the Chicago Blackhawks, their head coach Luke Richardson got fired as well.
Poor guy.
This week. Yeah, like a lot of people say that, I don't know if it was a surprising firing, obviously with the state of the team and how they were expecting them to do better this year. Like you mentioned, they made all those they acquired all these players to not be as trash as they currently are. I think I'm personally surprised of how badly they're doing. But like he was known to be like a great defenseman. He was always a defensive D in the league. Played over 1,000 games. Was an assistant coach at Montreal when they made that Cinderella run to the Stanley Cup finals. Lost.
Who beat
I
Montreal?
actually don't know because I turned off the TV with 2 minutes left, so I don't remember exactly who they were
Let me
playing
look at
against.
the history books. Oh wait,
Oh yeah, what was that?
2021. It must have been the Bolts.
Maybe, I'm not sure. Maybe that was the year prior. I can't remember anymore.
My bad.
But
But
yeah,
like, yeah, man, like you mentioned conspiracy theories. Sorry, Ale. You mentioned conspiracy theories, and you know who? Like I don't know. Something's fishy with Ovechkin. I don't think he broke his freaking fibula or tibia. Yeah, fix me up. Shout out to Eminem.
shout
But
out.
he apparently broke his leg, and then like 17 days after, he's already skating. Like
Yeah.
this guy's on the gas.
Yeah, like
He
that's
knows it's
actually
great.
insane. Like, I understand that, there's the tibius and then the fibula, and
Yeah.
like the fibula is just there to support. I don't know what the purpose of that second bone is, but it's still insane. Like, you read the tweet that they posted, it's like 4 to 6 weeks recovery, and 2 weeks later he's on the ice. And I saw a tweet this morning that he was taking one timers from his spot with Nick Backstrom on the ice, which also
What?
like
I thought
is
he had no
retired.
hips.
Well, listen, he wasn't moving much in the clip, and even Ovechkin, I think half the shots he missed the net. So clearly he's get back into the groove. But
Yeah.
that's definitely something that put a black mark on the league, especially that Ovechkin was on such a heater. And we're all hoping that he might break the record this season. Now we don't know if it'll happen because it'll be a tall ask after missing a couple weeks. But yeah, definitely on the Russian gas, this kid.
Yeah, you know who hasn't been on a heater though?
Who has not been on the heater, Glenn?
The whole New York Rangers team. And during
That's
your during our hiatus,
yeah,
there's been there have been a lot of rumblings surrounding this team, notably around Jacob Trouba, who during the offseason, he was asked, would you accept this trade to Columbus? And he has a no move or no trade clause, and he declined. He's like, no, my wife, she has this job at the hospital. I ain't leaving, and that he has every right to do that.
yeah,
But then, come this season, think about it. You're the captain of the team, and you were just asked to like be traded, so that sort of carries into the locker room. And just like maybe not even 2 weeks ago, he was asked once again if he wanted to be traded, and he was threatened apparently,
yeah,
like, hey, if you don't accept this trade, like you're being sent down to the Mindsies.
yeah.
So he said yes to Anaheim. Look, if I was in his shoes, that's such a sick place to go. Like
I
Anaheim,
know.
Southern California,
Yeah,
you're not going to be talk of the town. Like you can actually clear your mind a bit. So just watch him play so much better. And I
yeah.
asked you during this weekend why, the Rangers would, or why Anaheim would even want to get someone like this because they already have their captain Radko Gudas, who's an absolute goon. And I heard Granelli on the Spinning Chicklets podcast mention that it
Yes.
is a good move to sort of at the deadline, if he's playing better at that point, to sort of Anaheim will eat maybe half of his salary,
Yep.
and then a team will maybe throw a third rounder or a second rounder for Jacob Trouba, and that's
Yep.
great asset management on Anaheim's side.
Yep.
But New York Rangers, what do you think? Like, what do you think of the move?
Because they didn't pay much. It reminds me a bit like
Oh,
I don't think it's a similar situation with like say Sean Monahan when he came to Montreal, and we were gifted his first rounder just to take his contract. So I think on Anaheim's side, like they can see how he performs. He's currently on their first D pair on the team.
okay.
Pasha would say he's a defensive liability, and that might not be the best spot for him. But I can definitely see, like, yeah, the way they were mentioning it, like at $4 million, he has 2 years left on his contract. If they were to eat the contract, it would be like a year and a half for
Yeah.
Anaheim, and it's not like they're aspiring
Aspiring to make
aspiring
playoffs.
to like make the playoffs. Like there's rumors of them trading, John Gibson at some point, even though he's doing way better this year, so that actually might increase his price.
He
You
makes
mentioned like
8 million though. I think. I
yeah,
know
it's
four
eight,
million
but
is
at
half.
50, yeah, but at
Yeah,
fifty
yeah,
percent, like if they were to retain 50%, like 4 million hit on their cap for a year and a half, let's say,
yeah.
and
It's easy.
then like, let's say they can get. You mentioned a second rounder, like if a team is really hungry and like like they were mentioning, he's the perfect guy that could play on your, let's say, top four. Maybe we're pushing at this point, but let's say top six
Yeah.
for a playoff contending team. You just want someone to be physical out there because you know that the playoffs is a completely different sport.
Block shots too.
Exactly. So
It is a no-brainer.
he's going to be a merchant with that. And to conclude a bit on the Rangers, so they were mentioning they had Brooksy as well, the very controversial, some would say, journalist in New York, but he was mentioning Kreider. I think Kreider came in the rumors as well. I hate that guy, ruined Carey Price's career, so I will
Thought
skip
about
over
it.
him because the second name that he mentioned, he was like, imagine they just listened to offers for Adam Fox. Like,
Yeah.
yes, that might be a bit crazy, but the level at which Adam Fox plays, and let's say if some teams would be interested into adding that, you know, legit like top one defenseman on your team for a team that let's say could be aspiring for the playoffs and that might have some cap because especially in the East, I don't know if they would trade him in the East or maybe in another division, but it's so tight within every single team. So there's a chance that a team that out of nowhere that maybe has the cap space could inquire just to see what the value would be. That would be absolutely insane. Like, I think that would be one of the greatest
Yeah.
or biggest trades announced in the NHL in the last couple of years. That would be definitely
Yeah. But
interesting to see. But yeah, Rangers are just they're not fugazis apparently.
yeah, they're not. You want to move on here to? I
Yeah,
think we had something. Yeah, with his 600th NHL goal, Sidney Crosby has joined Wayne Gretzky in a
yeah,
highly exclusive club. Shocker.
yeah.
So they're the only players in NHL history with at least 600 goals, 1,600 points, 3 Stanley Cups, and 2 Conn Smythes. So
That's
Crosby, at
insane.
39 years old, signed a horrible contract with a horrible team. Crosby to the Avs.
Yeah,
Anything
that's
to
that's
mention?
just insane. Like
Crazy.
I I was looking at the stats. I was like, oh, here we go. Like they came out with like some stupid thing like, oh, they're the only two players that ate pasta with broccoli before a game and scored 600 goals. But then when you look at the stats, like 600 goals, 1,600 points, the 3 Stanley Cups and the 2 Conn Smites, like that's like an achievement. Usually Conn
Crazy.
Smites, um, especially let's say I'll compare it to Tampa. Like, I think when they won, was it 2 years in a row? 2 years in a row, I think it was.
Two
I
years in a
actually
row,
forget.
yeah.
2 years in a row. Like it wasn't the same Smite winner. It
No.
was like different players. I think the league is maybe also trying to like pick different players. So the fact that he won it, the Stanley Cup 3 times, won the Conn Smythe twice, like that's something that's honestly like really, really, really,
It's remarkable.
yeah. Literally, like there's no. I think there's no. That was the word I was looking for. Thanks, Glenn. Frenchie
No
do it
way.
here.
Out of all of the adjectives?
Yeah, actually, that was the word. Actually, that was the word
Actually,
I was looking for. But yeah, shout out to Crosby. He just seeing Crosby and Ovechkin just perform at the level they still are at their age, and the
awesome,
respect and
dude.
notoriety that they built around the league. Just shout out to both of them. Yeah, just I'd love to like
Beauties.
he did cost me a bet yesterday. Shout out to Crosby. Not even a single point, but it's all good. I'll let it slide this time. We'll see if he ends up on my blacklist for betting. But so far so good for Crosby. Another team that took a bet was the St. Louis Blues. When they saw that Dave Montgomery lost his job, I forget if we even spoke about it last episode. They took a, I
Did
think
Montgomery.
yeah, I think I said it. So now it reminds me. I think we did speak about it, and I made the exact same mistake.
Oh,
Shout
good.
out Dave Montgomery from the NFL. Once again, honestly, shout out to him. I think he was like laid off. He was with no job for a week, and then the Blues just jumped on him, fired the head coach that they had just re-signed. Um,
Drew Bannister.
what do you think
Yep.
about that? Do you think it was the correct decision on their end, or
Yeah, like I love how open the GM was about it. He said this was our guy, and like we weren't going to sort of let up, like give this guy, maybe another meeting with different teams. Like this was our guy. We're paying him a 5-year deal. Who knows on the, millions per year.
yeah,
But Drew Bannister, this pigeon got tossed like 22 games into his NHL coaching career. And
yeah,
look, Jim Montgomery is proven with the Boston Bruins. Like this guy had an incredible record with the team,
yeah,
especially like the first year he was with them, or maybe it was the second. Like when they had that, they beat every NHL record or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah?
And
That
then
was insane.
Bergeron and Krejci both retired. It was a huge test to see how he would be able to cope with those first and second line center gone. And look, like with his coaching and his systems, like that team was, they were picked. Like people weren't even gonna have them in the playoffs, and they played very well. So, and look, St.
Yeah.
Louis already, I think they have a pretty good record so far with having him as the head coach. So
Yeah.
you never know. Bennington, good goalie, and they have a good core up front. So you never know, man. This
Yeah.
team could make the playoffs.
Yeah, at the time we took our notes on him, like they won their first 2 games, so you saw that he had a definite positive change or a positive shift in the way they played. I'm sure they're doing really well. You mentioned Bennington. I don't think we took a note of that, but just shout out to Samuel Montebello for qualifying. I'll use the F1 term for the World Cup coming up for Team Canada. As they say he's a third string goalie, but with Aiden Hill and Jordan Bennington, I really think that is going to be a position that will be open to anyone. So if
It could
ever
be a
like
toss-up.
yeah, because I always like to make fun of his last name because it's so iconic, Montebello. But I wouldn't be surprised if he could end up, starting maybe for Canada. He did play in I think it was a Spangler Cup last. I might be wrong about which tournament with Canada, and he won that tournament with them. So he has the experience. He has experience of playing in large markets. Like Aiden Hill plays in Vegas where no one knows about hockey, and they probably just give away the tickets for free at casinos to go watch the games. For people to go watch the Set A halftime show or between period shows. Bennington, we'll see if he's able to keep his cool. He might just throw a fit and break his neck during practice after he gets scored on by all those superstars. He won't understand it's just a practice. So he might just lose his mind and Samuel might pull on top. But I digress. That was my little branch for Team Canada. We'll talk about that more as the tournament gets closer.
Hold up, I actually have to take a whizzy.
Go for
Easy
it.
cut. Easy cut.
Yeah, easy cut.
One eternity later.
Okay, laughing.
All right, so we're back now. Glenn
100%.
took another whiz halfway through the episode, even though
Small
it's going to
bladder.
be like a 30-minute pod. Could not hold it in. It's probably the prime and all that potassium pushing inside the bladder.
I peed for like a minute straight. I was like, come on, I need to record a podcast.
Yeah, it definitely felt like it was way shorter. Felt like you just went and gave a peck to Vanessa. Hey, Vanessa! And then came back to record. My next point I had here, it's a Tactics. He's a NHL 25 YouTuber. He pointed out a thing that I really wanted to bring up to the podcast with Matt Duchene getting paid only $5.5 million this year and being the top scorer of the team. So definitely that means that Jason Robinson or Rupe Hintz are not performing to the level, the Wyatt Johnsons as well. But shout out to him. Like Matt Duchene, like obviously had a couple bad years, I think, prior to joining Nashville.
Dallas.
Well, Dallas, the last year with Nashville, I think he did good. I just think that the contract he commanded was maybe a little too high. So in a way, I understand the buyout, but not in the same way because he did perform kind of well last year. But seeing him do really, really well in Dallas is definitely like something that they're going to look back on, especially how bad they're doing with Steven Stamkos. Sorry, I just to say that Steven Stamkos was bad. Sorry.
Yeah, so yeah, man, like Matt Duchene, I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, it's so cool that you can sort of reinvent your game at such a late age. But this guy was struggling for a few years in a row, and then he was bought out, signs with Dallas, I believe it was, and then he's like, yeah, you're going to buy my contract out? I'm going to prove you wrong on a different team. But yeah, Nashville Predators, that team is brutal.
Yeah.
Like,
tough year.
Look, they signed a bunch of new guys. I was high on them during the intro episodes talking about which teams would make the playoffs.
Yep.
This team is brutal.
Yeah.
And these guys are just like not enjoying. They're too old. They're too old, and like there's too many new guys, new faces in the room.
Yeah, and like Barry Trotz was a great coach.
Yeah.
I know he was there like as you know, as like a, either consultant or assistant to David Poyle before he retired, before he got the role. So maybe it's not his forte to like lead a team and make those decisions, but we'll see if things turn around. If it might just be like a cohesion thing where, like you said, it's all new players and they might like turn it around at some point.
Yeah.
But for now, it's definitely not looking good for them. Next point, we can just kind of, I don't want to say brush over it quickly, but there was that massive trade as well that happened with David Jiricek from
Juricek.
the Columbus Blue Jackets traded to the Minnesota Wild. It looked like an OHL trade where you see those superstars being traded for like 17 first rounders over the next 17 years. But no, they got a good package: first, second, third, and fourth round pick. They got a Damon Hunt is a defenseman they got back as well, Columbus, but I think he was sent down. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, after this little internet cut.
Yeah, so Hunt got sent down.
Yeah,
No idea who that man is, but
straight
I'm
up.
wishing him the best.
Yeah, in
But
Columbus.
Minnesota, yeah, Minnesota, what a team! This team is, I believe, 8-2-1 in their last 11. I
That's
was
insane.
watching last night because, look, I texted you. I've been on fire with these bets, okay?
Yeah.
And betting the singles versus like these parlays is the way to go for me right
Yeah.
now. It's working.
Yeah, clearly,
And
because
I
you had
did-
a rough patch.
Yeah, I did text you saying like, look, I was going to bet the under on the Toronto Jersey game,
Yeah,
and then Tampa Edmonton, like 40 to win 160.
yeah,
I was like, you know what? I'm not going to, just
Yeah.
in case. Sure enough, it hits. And
Shocker.
then Matt K. Mitrov, just the other day, sauced a 20 on him for power play, like point, and it didn't hit. But yesterday it did.
yeah,
I'm sure you've had a lot of instances where you bet something,
Yeah.
doesn't hit, the next game it hits, and you
Yeah.
didn't bet it. You're like, oh my god. So, yeah. Speaking about Minnesota, they were down 1-0 to Utah yesterday, and I saw the shots on goal, 17-5 after 20.
yeah,
So I was like, you know what? I'm going 2.8 money line, threw 40 on it, and then they like within 10 minutes they were up like 2-1.
yeah,
It's like, oh my god, this is awesome. The cash out was at like 80. So
Yeah.
then I did a hedge. I put shout out to the hedges.
The
10 on
hedge is the way to go.
10 on Utah to win. It was a 4-1.
Yeah.
So if Minnesota ends up losing, all in all, I would just lose $10,
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
yeah, that makes sense.
So sure enough, Minnesota's down like 4-3 with like 50 seconds left. I'm like, what the hell happened?
Yeah,
And I didn't cash out for 80 or whatever. Bro, they tie it up with like 40 seconds left.
yeah,
It goes into the shootout. My boy Boldy
yeah,
angle, and I win like 112, but really 102.
yeah. Because
So-
but the hedge, it's effective. You never want to take
All
those
about the
big
hedge.
L's, and like you said, those singles, like it might be the way to go, especially in NHL, because it's such a like you can't really predict what's gonna happen. Like I think yes, there are some better teams than there's some others, but you always see those, surprises almost every night compared to
Yeah.
the NFL, which is like once a week.
It's not easy to bet on hockey.
No,
it really isn't.
It's tough.
So-
It's fun because I think there's so many things that we can bet on. Obviously, some things will have to be fixed, with the shots on net and the block shots, which is not very easily tracked. But we'll see how that'll go. I saw you took in the notes. We had taken the notes about Trevor Zegras about potentially being cut.
Yeah.
Skate. So I don't think that happened. But the reason why I'm mentioning it is I think it was the last game or the game before he got completely laid out.
Yeah?
Was it him or was it Jack Hughes? No, I can't remember.
One of the superstars.
I forget. One of the small superstars completely got laid out. I think now they're out for a couple games, but that was
Ironic
a brutal
that
hit.
they hang out with each other in the
Oh.
off season.
It was insane. Looking at that, the Four Nations, like we mentioned, I think we can do an episode on that as well at some point.
Closer to the
it starts.
tournament. Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be cool. But yeah, US just looks freaking insane.
Wow, again.
I mentioned something quickly on Shesterkin. We already spoke about the Rangers, but him signing his deal, was it 8 years, 11.5? I
Yes.
think it was. But I just wanted to troll him a bit because at the beginning of the season, they were talking about 12, 12.5, 13. And just like you, he could have cashed out then. But he waited just a little longer for the Rangers to suck, for his price to go down. I think they're saying that he took a discount for the team, but I think his value itself, seeing that he's not a one man show. Yes, he
Yeah.
maybe deserves to be the highest paid goal in the league because he is the ability to be the best goal in the league right now. So I just want to point that out that he waited just a little too long
Yeah.
before hitting that cash out button as well.
Quickly before moving on from that
Yeah,
news, I saw a tweet quickly about him earning 11.5 million, and in the state of New York, after taxes, he's only pulling in like 5.8 million per year.
yeah,
Something
that's
ridiculous
insane.
like that.
Yeah,
So
that's
Jake
insane.
Ottinger, I'm not sure on his contract, but
Yeah,
in the tweet, he makes probably like nine-ish,
yeah.
but after
After the
federal
taxes.
tax, he's
Yeah,
making more than Shesterkin at 11.5. So
yeah.
shout out to these no state taxes.
Fox.
Again, those are the teams that are more likely to make it deep into the playoffs just based off of you can get more players for, bargains
Yeah,
all on that same team, and it's a nicer climate,
yeah.
right?
Oh, 100%.
So shout out to the no state tax teams.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
look
I
before.
can't wait to hear what you're gonna say about that.
Okay, so some guy Saber Metrix, no idea,
I
but
think it's metrics.
Metrix is horrible. You're cutting that out. So Brandon Hagel is on pace for 105 points. Sam Reinhart on pace for 111. Jack Eichel is on pace for 114 points. All three of those guys were on the team, Buffalo Sabres, in 2018. Look, all of those numbers are crazy, but I want to speak about Brandon Hagel specifically because,
Shocker.
shocker, this guy is unbelievable. And you laughed in my face when Tampa traded for him
Yeah.
from Chicago, I believe it was, for 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
Look at where Chicago is now, and look at how amazing Brandon Hagel is. This
Yeah.
guy's replacing Stammer.
Yeah. No, literally,
And this all ties in perfectly because, maybe a week ago, Tampa was, they slid out of the wild card spot, but they're back in. I'm going to make that $100 from your pigeon
Yeah.
wallet, and I'm going right to the cash and put in 100 on black.
Yeah, I checked. I think I checked yesterday. I think they're first in the division now. Yes, it's very close. Like between first and last, I think there's like 6 points
Bounces all
in the
over.
division, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, shout out to Brandon Hagel. Like I did make fun of him, like that little goon kid coming in from Chicago that had a little upside. But yeah, with Tampa, he's popping off. He's doing great. Like when I saw that tweet that you put in the notes, I was like, I know he doesn't really care about how bad the Sabres are doing and how they could have
No,
had those
I
great
don't
players.
care.
All he wanted to talk about is freaking
Oh
Brandon
boy,
Hagel.
hey.
Yeah, so they paid quite expensive, but it's a good return so far for Tampa. So another good trade that Julien Brisebois did. Like he had some hits and misses with some players, but I just like how ballsy he's been with his decisions,
Very
and it's
ballsy.
been paying off mostly for Tampa. Um, Before we move into the final point with shouting out Kevin Shattenkirk, I just want to give a little more flowers to Tampa.
What?
I forget where I heard it, but bringing back McDonough
Yes.
and how Tampa is doing great,
So
and on the
good.
opposite, Nashville's been doing pretty bad. Not to say that McDonough is a game changer on the ice, but maybe that really shows what kind of energy and kind of aura, mentorship he brings in the room.
Yeah.
Um, Especially the player they got for Sergachev, JJ Moser.
Yeah.
I haven't
Mosner
watched
and,
many games for Tampa. Like he's a young kid, he can develop to be a strong force in the NHL, I believe. Having guys like Hedman, McDonough back now with the team, And, Tampa's not getting older, but, their core was decimated after those cup runs because people wanted to get paid. But just bringing him back, we can see definitely that he brought a positive energy to the Bolts.
Yeah.
We'll see if they still make the playoffs. I hope they don't. I don't think they will. The
Yeah,
Habs will squeeze in, being on a heater with Patrick Laine. What a stud.
Yeah, quick
go for
though.
it.
Tampa, shout out. I'm very shocked that you actually gave Tampa some flowers there. But yeah, having McDonough in alleviates that much more pressure off of Hedman
Yeah.
and surrounding guys. And, you spoke on Tampa being an older team. Look, off season, they got rid of Stammer.
Yeah.
And who did they bring in? Jake Gensel,
Yeah.
younger guy. And look, this guy, he has goals in his last 4 games.
Yeah.
So it's a huge hole that they've had to sort of fill. And I
Yeah.
feel like they're doing a pretty decent job. And look, John Cooper, I believe he just surpassed 900 games coaching in the NHL. And
Which
it's
is
all
crazy.
been for Tampa. He's
Yeah.
the longest tenured coach, like 12, 13 years with
Yeah.
one team. That's unheard of nowadays.
Exactly.
So, and they had to completely revolutionize the team this offseason just because, like, look, people are reading their power play a lot more. They have their captain who's gone. So
Yeah.
you got to switch some things up. So, shout out to the Bolts.
Yeah, and just to conclude on that, like last year when they had Sergachev and Hedman, I forget if it was Ian Cole, the last defenseman, but having Ryan McDonough,
Jesus. Continue.
having McDonough there, he's probably on their PK1, I'm assuming. So just another force where he can use, like you say, use him in a different situation and just have Hedman focus maybe on the power play and spend less time on the ice when he shouldn't have to. So little shout out to them. And then to conclude the episode, we'll end it on the light note. Kevin Shattenkirk, Tampa Bay legend,
6 other teams.
and like 14 other teams. Like, he went around the league.
Suitcase.
But honestly, like I remember him in his like good old days with the Ducks, where
Yeah.
he was a force. Like he really was that, like a perfect image of a pure defenseman. I think he always had that, even at the end of his career. Oh, sorry for the alarm. It's time for the free bet on the day on Bet365. But no, to conclude, like he did his rounds around the league. Obviously, I think that sometimes can happen for those more offensive players. But even as he got older, he continued. I'm not sure are you pointing at something?
No, my cat was chewing my wrist.
Oh, shocker. Cats, they'll chew your wrist, scratch you in the face to show you that they love you. But do you have anything else to say about the legend?
Shattenkirk, this guy, he won. I think it was just one cup with Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, like he to play for 7 teams in the NHL, that's really cool. 2 of them were original 6 teams, so shout out to him. And before I cut you off, you were mentioning the Habs. The Habs, I want to return the favor, even though it's not their time yet. But with Laine back in the lineup, that team is looking exciting. Their power play, dude. I texted you.
It's
It's
insane.
so cool. It's so sick to watch. They
Yeah.
got 5 weapons. And Lane Hudson, this guy's like 12. And he's
Yeah.
unreal.
He's literally a 12-year-old kid on the ice, and
He's yeah.
obviously he jumped on the opportunity when Madison got injured for a couple of games, and he took PP1, and we saw the results. Like the way he handles that blue line, like he can really be that sole guy
Yeah.
on the blue line. Have his 2 wingers on the side, put the big man in front of the net. And honestly, like you said, the power play hasn't looked that good in a while. Patrick Laine just straight up lighting it up. Like I don't know if you
Albie,
watch any.
stop chewing the tape. I'm filming a podcast. Enough.
And on that note, guys, this concludes episode 8 of the Last Bus podcast. As Albie's chewing up Glen's Wi-Fi cord as well, and going absolutely crazy. We appreciate your support
And patience.
and patience with us. Once again, we'll mention it real quickly. If you wouldn't mind subscribing, liking the video, leaving a comment. No special words. We're just going to wait for Daniel to say, let's go ×8.
Yes.
We'll see if anyone else comments. Maybe Chris will sprinkle in some love as well. But shout out to you guys if you made it that far into the episode. We appreciate you. Glenn, I appreciate you even more. You're my bestie for
You're
life.
my bestie, bro.
And I can't wait to record next week's episode as well. F1 special. And on that note,
Wednesday.
guys, we're the best. We're not the best. You're the best.
We are the best.
We're about to be the best. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see y'all in the next episode. Peace.